Okay, so our presentation is on Assyria. So this is a map of Assyria. It's very dry in some parts. It's vastly covered in desert, even though it's not shown on the map, even though it is, again, in the Fertile Crescent. It stretches from modern-day Egypt to Turkey to the Persian Gulf, which is a pretty large area, and it was mostly supported by the thriving cities within its borders. So the time period of Assyria was between 2500 BCE to 612 BCE. It was separated into two different empires by similar names, the first being Assyria and the second being Neo-Assyria, which, again, you need to know. The thing that separated these two were defeats in the 10th century BC by different groups that were trying to conquer it. And there were several different important rulers that ruled Assyria, but these are just the most influential. So Dadnirari ruled from 1308 to 1276 BCE. King Tiglath-Pileser I ruled from 1116 to 1078 BCE. And Sargon II ruled from 722 to 705 BCE. And Sennacherib ruled from 705 to 681 BCE.
Alright, so here's some key figures if the last couple were enough. We've got Ashur, who's the main Assyrian god. He's the patron god of Assyria, and he's what fuels their desire for conquest, which in turn makes them the violent civilization that they were. And then there's also Ashurnazirpal, who was really cruel in order to scare off all enemies outside and inside the borders of Assyria. There's also Adad-nirari I, which is under his rule, Assyria became independent from Sumerian and Hurrian rule, and under Tiglath-Pileser I, Assyria developed their aggressive strategies, and they took over Syria, Phoenicia, Anatolia, and Babylonia. And Sargon II united the Assyrian Empire. Sennacherib attacked Egypt, and he was assassinated in 681. Esarhaddon captured Memphis, and these two related. He's his dad. Esarhaddon was Sennacherib's son. And Ashurbanipal captured Thebes, and he's the one who built the library in Nineveh. And he died in 627 BC. The Sumerians and the Hurrians controlled Assyria, so Assyria prospered when those two civilizations fell. And Phlag and Bit-Hanuk rebelled against Assyrian rule. Also, there was a gigantic conquest of Egypt by Sennacherib's son, and they also conquered Jerusalem on their way to Egypt, kind of like a pit stop, And Ashurbanipal handed his rule over to Egyptian kings, and the control over Egypt declined in 30 to 40 years afterwards.
So reasons for Assyria's decline was mainly because of a civil war in Assyria. So when Ashurbanipal died in 627 BCE, his two sons wanted to take the throne. And there was also a revolt in Babylon, which was also a constant sort of worry of the Assyrians, because Babylon once ruled the whole kind of area that Assyria was in. And eventually Babylon took over Assyria with the help of the Medes. And some interesting facts about Assyria. So when the Assyrians conquered a territory, they would often use puppet kings, which was basically the main king would kind of tell them what to do, and the puppet king would do it. And they saw Babylon as a threat, like I said, and they were the first civilization to require women to wear veils in public, and in the palace they had women had their own separate quarters, and they built the first library, like Kat said, and so they used a lot of their rewards from conquest to build their well-planned and thriving cities. And here's the social order of Assyria. It's pretty standard, but here we have the king, and then the assistants in military and administration, and then the governors, scribes, tax collectors, and palace administrators as kind of an upper middle class and middle class and lower